Alright everyone, welcome back to my channel, Baseball Talk with Nick Morgan. So today we're talking about some huge news in Major League Baseball when it comes to the free agent market. The Chicago White Sox just signed Yasmani Grandal to a 4-year, $73 million deal. Now per year, he's going to get $18.25 million from the 2020 season to the 2023 season, which is ridiculous. We're going to talk all about this signing, what I think about it. And by the way, I really like this. I think it's going to work out perfectly for the White Sox and Grandal. They could have really used him, and now they have him. So I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on this a little bit more. I'm going to talk about his stats, and we're going to talk about who he's replacing and possible options for him and James McCann, the previous Chicago White Sox starting catcher, and just a whole bunch of other things. So stay tuned as per usual. If you guys are excited for this video, don't forget to drop a like down below, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So this signing, of course, is really big for the White Sox and for Yasmani Grandal, but also for Major League Baseball as a whole, because it's the first signing we're seeing this offseason when it comes to the free agents. And there's going to be a lot more. Garrett Cole, Steven Strasburg, Anthony Rendon, just to name a few. They're going to get paid a lot of money. It's going to be big deals, big teams, I'm assuming as well. But I really like this one. I think this was kind of under the radar. I mean, the White Sox definitely needed Grandal, so it's not surprising that they went out and got him. But yeah, I mean, I was actually going to go ahead and make a video about teams that I think needed to pursue big name players and everything this offseason. And I really wanted the White Sox to make a big deal, and they have. But do they stop here is the question, because they have the money to spend, I would assume. Like, I think they don't really have a lot of big names on there now other than like Giolito and Abreu and James McCann and now Grandal. I think they do have some money that they can go ahead and spend on some outfielders or some pitching or whatever the case may be. But this is just really cool, and I do think they continue to make a push for some better players as well. And I personally think this is a great way to start the offseason, and I'm really excited to see what's next. This is a perfect deal for Grandal. So now that the best free agent catcher is off the market this offseason, we're going to talk about Yasmani Grandal and his stats now that he is with the White Sox. So in 2019, he had 513 at-bats in which he hit 246 with 28 home runs, 77 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, and a .848 OPS. In his career, he has 2,793 total at-bats, hitting 241 with 141 home runs, bringing in 416 RBIs with 11 stolen bases and a .794 OPS. Now, he debuted back in 2012 with the San Diego Padres and played with them from 2012 to 2014, in which he then went to Los Angeles, where he played with the Dodgers from 2015 through 2018. And of course, last season, he played with the Milwaukee Brewers, and that was his only year he spent with the club. So Grandal has created himself a pretty nice resume up to this point in his career. He is 31 years old and is a 2-time All-Star. Those seasons were 2015 with the Dodgers and this past year in 2019 with the Brewers. He is now replacing James McCann on the Chicago White Sox, who was previously the starting catcher. So in a couple moments here, I'm going to talk about what my thoughts are on what they will do with this catching position, where they'll put McCann and Grandal, and what they could possibly do to maybe get them both playing at the same time in the same game. But with that being said, let's go ahead and first talk about James McCann's stats. In 2019, James had a total of 439 at-bats, hitting 273 with 18 dingers, 60 RBIs, swiping 4 bases, and accumulating a 789 OPS. In his career, he has 1,975 total at-bats, in which he hit 247 with 58 home runs, 237 RBIs, 6 stolen bases, and a .683 OPS. If you compare these two catchers side by side, of course, Grandal is a little bit better. He has more experience, more home runs, more RBIs, and a higher OPS. His average in his career is a little lower than James McCann's, being 241 compared to 247 respectively, but this is most definitely an improvement to your backstop if you're the Chicago White Sox. I love this deal. Yasmani Grandal got paid a decent amount for 4 years. The White Sox will most definitely improve with him, and I'm going to say this a lot. I like this pickup, and what they did was amazing. Quite a steal for Chicago. So now the big question is, what will happen to James McCann, and how will Yasmani Grandal and this signing affect him? Now, I don't think that they're going to split time back and forth on Grandal and McCann. That just doesn't make sense. You spent a lot of money on a really solid catcher all around, so you're not going to give him half the work and half the time and split it with James McCann, who is decent behind the plate, but just not as good as Yasmani Grandal or other top catchers. So I don't think they're going to split time. That just doesn't make sense to me. And Yasmani Grandal can play first, but they're not going to inconvenience him for James McCann. McCann is not as good of a catcher, and they just, again, signed Grandal to a huge amount of money for 4 years. He is fully protected. He cannot be traded either, so he's guaranteed to be a White Sox. He's going to be put in that catching position because he's shown throughout his entire career he's very good there, and he has 2 All-Star appearances in that position. So you're not going to really want to move him unless, for whatever reason, the White Sox see that to be the case. For me, what the solution will be here is James McCann will most likely be your designated hitter when Yasmani Grandal is not catching, he has a day off, or if he, knock on wood, doesn't get hurt. But if he does get hurt, McCann will be the starting catcher there, and Grandal may even be a designated hitter at that point. But they can definitely swap and interchange things here and there. McCann will get playing time in 2020, just not as much as he's used to, and definitely not as much as 2019. He had a total of 439 at-bats, and he was the primary catcher then. So his role is going to shift a little bit, but Yasmani Grandal is going to come in here, 31 years old, getting ready to have a new chapter start for him in his Major League Baseball career, and he's going to show up. I think he's going to perform very well. He'll help carry the White Sox a little bit offensively, and it's just going to be a great addition. I can't stop saying it because, for me, I just really like what they did here. $73 million, 4 years, $18 million a year. This is great. I love it. Grandal to the White Sox, great move. So I talked about it a little bit at the beginning of this video. Will the White Sox continue to pick up guys, or will they stop after signing Grandal? Well, they're a young team, and they could definitely benefit from some guys who are still on the free agent market right now. They can improve their outfield. Their right side and infield could be improved as well. Of course, you do have Yolmer Sanchez, who just won a Gold Glove, and Jose Abreu at second and first respectively, but both of those guys you can definitely pick up a better name and replace them with. So if we were to see a potential starting 9 with the roster that the White Sox currently have on opening day of 2020, in the outfield you have Eloy Jimenez, Adam Engel, and Leury Garcia from left to right. At third base, your starter would be Yoan Moncada, and shortstop would be the one and only Tim Anderson. And going over to that right side of the infield, Yolmer Sanchez and Jose Abreu. Your starting catcher is Yasmani Grandal. Lucas Giolito, of course, will be your starting pitcher, and your DH is James McCann. Of course, you can change things around a little bit here and there, but you could definitely pick up a veteran outfielder, maybe a guy like Brett Gardner, but not Brett Gardner because I want him with the Yankees, just saying. You can pick up a guy like him, put him in center field or right field, and then have a good bat there and a guy with speed or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, this is a good team. It's a young team. They're definitely focusing on a rebuild, but they're already drastically better with Yasmani Grandal as their new catcher. And I really think that in the next couple of years, they can be something really big. They're going to need some bullpen help. They're going to need some more starting pitching arms. The outfield's going to have to be improved a little bit. Yoan Moncada and Tim Anderson, you could honestly probably keep as your starting third baseman and shortstop for a couple of years. Of course, you would maybe want to go ahead and get some other guys as well. But for the most part, this is pretty good. It's a solid start for a young team trying to rebuild, looking to go ahead and have the future be bright for them. Not necessarily 2020, though Grandal will help illuminate this next season. So now that it is official and Yasmani Grandal has signed with a team, who is your next best bet on the free agent market at this position? Well, that's going to go ahead and be Robinson Chirinos, formerly a player of the Houston Astros. If you're a team like the Cincinnati Reds who really need an additional backstop, a better backstop, Chirinos is going to be really your only guy from this point forward unless you want to wait till next year this time, which I don't think anyone wants to do because everyone's main goal is to go ahead and try to make it to the World Series or just get better from your previous season. So Robinson Chirinos, he's going to be the next big guy to watch for. People who want a catcher last minute or just an extra bat if you're an American League team who can use a DH. Chirinos will be that guy. We're going to see where he goes within the next upcoming weeks and months, obviously. And yeah, I'm excited. This was an amazing signing. The White Sox outdid themselves in a good way right here. Yasmani Grandal, phenomenal pickup. I hope they don't stop here and they keep signing some big guys because it will definitely be a great 2020 for them. Fan-wise, team-wise, record-wise will definitely improve as well with all this being said. So this is going to end this for this video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to drop a like down below, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. See you all next time. Peace.